To Cougar Academy. Welcome to lesson 6.4.2. This is part 2 of 6.4. So we multiplied. This time we are dividing polynomials. So something relatively new. So here's one of our first new topics. It might be challenging at first, but give it a shot here. So to divide, we have to remember old school division. We're going to set it up similarly. Okay, we're going to have our larger bit inside here, so m to the third minus 8m squared minus 16m plus 8. And on the outside, we're going to write m plus 2. Okay, so we're dividing factors here, or we're dividing to find factors, essentially, of our polynomials. Now, a few things to note is we want this to be in order from 3 to 2 to 1 to our constant. We'll do some examples where we're missing terms, but that's the first idea. Now, as you go through this, the idea is we're going to look at this m and think, how can I multiply it in order to make it an m to the third? Well, to do that, I would need to multiply by an m squared. So the idea is, what do I need to multiply to make it m to the third? That will then take it, so if we take m squared times m, that makes it m to the third. And then if we just take that and distribute it to the 2, that makes it plus 2m squared, and it's nice and lined up. Now the next little trick is we are going to be subtracting both of these. So change the signs, and then add on down. What will happen is these first two should cancel. M to the third minus an m to the third is 0, so you don't need to write that. Just be careful with this subtraction or this addition now. Negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10m squared, and we're going to now bring down the negative 16m, and we'll repeat that game. So now the goal is to make it a negative 10m squared, and we start with m. So this idea is now we need to multiply by negative 10m. Okay, we'll repeat. So negative 10 to m is negative 10m squared. You want them to be the same at first. Distribute to the 2, so minus 20m, and flip the signs, so plus and plus. So again, by switching the signs, your first pieces should cancel out. So that's 0. Negative 16 plus 20 is 4m, and bring down the 8 plus 8. Now, last bit is to get to 4m, we would want to multiply just by 4, and that will leave us with 4m, and then plus 8. And hey, when we switch the signs, switch, boop, boop, everything cancels, and we get a remainder of 0. So it won't always have a remainder of 0, but this one does. So remainder of 0. Okay, and then your answer is this bit here, m squared minus 10m plus 4. So there's your answer. Okay, division's going to take some time, it's going to take some practice, but you'll get it down. Just take your time, of course. Okay, so moving on to the next example, number 2. Set it up the same way. X plus 4 out front, x to the third plus 2x squared minus 15x minus 28. All right, we're going to focus. We want to make an x to the third, so the idea from x to the third is we'll need to multiply by an x squared. Okay, x squared times x to the third. Distribute it to the 4 plus 4x squared. Switch the signs, boop, boop, and add on down. So now negative 2x squared. Bring on down the 15. To make it negative 2x squared, we are going to need to multiply by negative 2x. So negative 2x minus 8x. Switch the signs, so plus, plus. Negative 15 plus 8 is negative 7. We'll bring down the negative 28. Okay, and from here, we will then just have to make this a minus 7. Negative 7x minus 28. What do you know? We switch the sign. Sometimes I like to put parentheses around. That emphasizes that we need to switch. Okay, if you just kind of start practicing these and know that you need to do so, you can of course use those tricks as well. We get another remainder of 0, and that leaves us with x squared minus 2x minus 7 as our answer. Okay, so good job with that one there. So 1 and 2. Some other division. All right, so we still have everything accounted for. Let's just keep on doing examples. That's the best way to really learn these. Just got to practice. Talking about practice. Okay, minus 3. So to make it x to the third, I'm going to need to multiply by an x squared. Makes it x to the third, to the 1, plus x squared. What do we do next? Switch the signs. Good. Switch the signs. So negative 7x squared. Going to bring down the 9x. We need to multiply by negative 7x in order to make it negative 7x squared. So negative 7x squared. Okay, minus 7x. Switch them on out. Add on down, negative 2x minus 3. And I believe this will give us our first remainder problem. Negative 2x and minus 2. We're going to switch the signs, plus, plus, and we have our first remainder of negative 1. Remainders are okay, just specify. So our solution is x squared minus 7x minus 2, remainder of negative 1. So I would like you to specify that as the remainder, okay? You may also see the remainder written as a fraction. It could also be negative 1 all over x plus 1. And you do that by taking what we divided by and just putting that in the denominator of your fraction. Okay, so either way, you can write it out or you can write it as a fraction. You might see it either way here as an answer. Okay, last particular example. So, and I just want to remind you again of something as we write this. Let's say, for example, we didn't have this negative 79r. So let's just scratch that out. For right now, you don't have to do this. Just kind of keep in mind if we didn't have that. If we didn't, you would want to write 9r to the third plus 62r squared. Say we didn't have that, you would put in a 0 r, okay? Since we do, we'll just keep it negative 79 and plus 17. But you want to fill in all the r's, so to speak, and then r plus 8, okay? Now, how do we get to 9r to the third? We multiply by a 9r squared. 9r to the third plus 72r squared. Now remember, subtraction means we need to switch the signs. So subtract those. 62 minus 72 is negative 10. R squared minus 79r. We would need to multiply by negative 10r. So negative 10r squared minus 80r. Okay, switch the signs. That makes it a nice r for us. Plus 17. Multiply by 1. That's how we just make it itself. So it's just r plus 8. Subtract. Change the signs. and you end up with 17 minus 8, or a remainder of 9. 17 minus 8, 9 is our remainder. So 9r squared minus 10r plus 1, with a remainder of 9, you can write it as plus 9 over r plus 8. That's just how you write it fancy as the remainder, or just list it either way there. So definitely practice some division. There's different ways to, or just different mistakes, common mistakes to be made. So be careful with it. Take your time and work through the practice problems. Nice job, Division 6.4.2.